Hello from Ural of New England and Boxborough, Massachusetts. We have Clark here with his 2012 Ural gear up. It's his second gear up. And as you can see in a moment, Dan is going to show you around the bike and we will walk some accessories. This bike has been around. It looks nice and solid and it has everything you need for the road. And Clark is the best person to ask, what do you do to get on the road with the Ural? And he has about a little over 22,000 clicks on his second Ural. So tell us and other Ural owners and people that don't have Urals just yet, but eventually they will.
Sure.
So what made you get the Ural? And you're probably one of our customers that spends most time on the road,
right,
traveling for real.
Correct. Yes.
Tell us about Alaska trip.
Right. Well, the number one reason I got the Ural is utility. I like to get out and ride. I try to ride when there's no ice on the road, and my standard two-wheel bike, of course, when there's ice and snow, I'm sitting in a hotel somewhere. Yeah. That doesn't apply here. Plus, also, I discovered that if you slow down and just enjoy the ride, it's actually much better than traveling at 70, 80 miles an hour on the interstate, keeping up with the traffic. Motoring along about 55 to 60 on here, which is more than adequate to get a good day's ride. Yeah. You actually enjoy the ride a lot more. My preference on this bike is the state and federal highways. The interstates are not as enjoyable. But like I said, I took my trip to Alaska and I rode across Highway 30, US 30 out across the Midwest, parts of US 2, and those were excellent rides. There were some times, unfortunately, we found ourselves out on Interstate 80 and 90, and that wasn't terribly enjoyable. But this bike on two-lane state and federal highways is perfect. There's a modification I've done on here for my own personal foibles. It's just something I saw somewhere and actually managed to, with the help of Thiago and the service department here, carry two spares instead of just a standard one. That took a little bit of engineering skill and all on the part of the folks here. Very helpful. With this vehicle performing best with 90 octane and my desires to get off and do some remote traveling with it, I actually mounted multiple fuel tanks, which came in handy. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, we took a trip to Alaska, and don't believe the sign that said fuel 20 miles ahead, because that means at one time or another there was a gas station there. So on more than one occasion, especially when we went up to the Arctic Circle, my son followed me on his motorcycle. These extra fuel tanks were more than helpful. They've been stuck, something fierce, being eaten alive by mosquitoes in the process.
And down there, did you often have to engage two-wheel drive?
We went on a couple of stretches of road. I believe it was in Montana. We were riding along between Livingston and Miles City, and I looked on my map, and following the Yellowstone River I thought was a nice road, but we went in and it turned out it was not paved at all. It was strictly gravel and dirt, and the two-wheel drive was great on here. I didn't have any difficulty with that, but that's about the only time we really engaged, because we were stumbled onto it. My son has a dual sport bike, so he was more than happy. All of a sudden I discovered we were off the pavement and riding. It's about a 50-mile ride out through there, and again, keeping the speed down, looking around. It was nice. We saw elk and a lot of wildlife out in that area.
Well, we will take a moment and we will actually ask Dan to just, we'll roll the bike forward a little bit, and that way Dan can walk around with the camera, and we'll just show off some of the cool things that you came up with on this bike. It's amazing. I'm actually just going to put it in gear using the pin shift. Yep, we got it. So the first thing is, like you said, you have a dual setup for the spare wheel. And then in the back there's a cool thing, Dan. Let's just show this off, because there's a rear bumper in the back. We have these bumpers, we sell them, we have them in stock. We have a new style, but this is a little more heavy duty. And look at that really cool rope application on that. And then, so in the back you have dual fuel cans in the back and one in the front.
Correct.
So you have almost 5 gallons in the tank, and it looks like you have 30 liters.
Correct.
Which is about another 30 liters. 5-6 gallons of
5, 6
fuel.
gallon. And
Yeah.
I also have another 5-gallon can that when I bring that along, I either mount it here,
Oh wow.
or I'll have it here, and I've got these tie-down points here to
Yeah.
stabilize it out.
Yes, you have a real shovel. It looks like it's a 4-foot shovel,
Correct.
5-foot shovel. You have a nice axe out there.
Correct. Correct.
And I'm sure there were instances you had to use them for something.
Sure.
And then around the rider area, you have some cool things right here. So tell us a little more about that.
Well, again, you know, I have a Zumo GPS from Garmin here,
Yeah.
which is a combination both GPS and satellite radio.
Okay.
When you're riding out
that's
west,
what I'm hearing. I'm
Yep.
hearing a little bit of that.
Yep.
Okay.
when you're riding out in the far west, having that radio is a lifesaver.
That's the antenna.
And this is the antenna for it here, and of course has, you know, the RAM mounting system,
Yeah.
which over on the other side, as you can see, I have another mount,
Yeah.
and on here my GoPro camera. I can mount that on here,
On here, yeah.
and using the remote fob that comes with it, I can actually film whatever adventures I'm seeing
Awesome.
along the road. And I'm not a coffee guy, but on those hot days out west, you get dehydrated. It's something fierce riding in the heat and sun. A 1-liter bottle of water
Yeah.
will fit comfortably in here, so you can
You have your
take
easy
a
pass
drink.
right there.
Right, have an easy pass.
Heated grips. I know where
Done
those
here.
came
Yep,
from.
Yep,
Yeah.
all done here, heated grips. One of the experiences before I went to Alaska, you install these really good auxiliary
let's-
lights
Yes.
here, which surprisingly, when we were going through the Yukon, that must be the darkest place in the world, because even with my high quality
H4,
high
yeah.
beam and those, it was dark. We actually almost hit a bear.
Wow.
So that
Yeah.
motivated me to
To
splurge for another set, because I intend to make that trip again, and I want to make darn sure that nothing comes between fun and the bike.
Yeah. Yep. And we're actually going to be carrying another H4 lighting package for this, so
Okay.
you can aim that as additional lighting
Sure.
rather than a spotlight.
Sure.
And you have your ammo box right there.
Right, that's predominantly my tools. It's easier to keep my tool rolls in here and a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
And when my wife rides with me, she's very concerned, so I had the little
Mirror.
mirror mounted here so she can comfortably see what's going on behind her.
Yeah.
We've got
Oh,
the
steering
steering damper in here again,
Upgrade, yes.
which helps with just the ride. As I was telling somebody, I try not to fight the bike. I just like to go along with it. The mud guards
Yeah.
here also just deflect water and coolness away when I'm driving down the road in those cold days out there.
So for those people that ask us, how does the bike do on the highway? A lot of people think of this bike that this is just for special occasions, back roads, certainly off-roads. But it sounds like most of your riding you've done on the highways.
Correct, yes. As I said, when we went to Alaska, we started in Key West. So myself and my son, we rode this bike down to Key West.
Yeah.
Unfortunately on Interstate 95 most of the way.
Wow.
And from there we rode some of the back state and federal highways out of Florida heading west. But yes, as I said, contrary to people think, driving 60, 65 miles an hour, you can move along.
Absolutely. Well, there are faster vehicles, but not as much fun.
Correct.
Yes.
And you enjoy the ride. That's
Yeah.
the most important part, actually getting out and enjoying the ride.
Well, thank you for this. If there's anything else you want to add for our viewers, we have over 600 viewers on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So,
Yep. Well, like I said earlier, there's no reason you can't travel and tour the country on this bike unless you decide not to. If you decide you want to do it, you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Claude.
Not a problem. Thank you for everything, Dimitri.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
support here.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.